Hello, everybody, and welcome to the latest live stream from Sports Community. Today's just a short, sharp one. I was doing some research this morning on for an upcoming training program, or more broadly, I was doing more research on this whole challenge that clubs are going to have, particularly those clubs that cancel this winter season, so they could go 18 months from when people were at their club last year to when they're at their club next year, and that's a significant sort of scenario. So I was really starting to get my mind around how do we make sure that through that period where people aren't at our clubs, we continually to engage them, but also through this period, I think what we're going to find is a whole lot of people coming out of COVID that are going to be looking to participate in sport potentially for the first time, potentially for the first time in a long time. So there's a whole, this is a period that's not only going to create challenge to bring our people back, but it's going to create opportunity to recruit new people into the sport or back to the sport. And I was flicking around different peak body websites and I came across this one from Sailing Australia, and the heading grabbed me, and it was, let me just make my screen a little bit bigger. The heading grabbed me and it said, want more members at your club. And I thought, well, that's a good heading. That's a good topic. I'll have a look at what Sailing Australia are saying as ways to get more members to their club. And what the article was about, there are many membership drive ideas that range from member referral incentives to giving regatta attendees a country membership purchase option at the time of entry, but there's one generally missed across the board that is a no-brainer: a frequently asked questions page on your website. And I stopped and thought about that for a while, and I thought, you know what? What a tremendously simple concept, but it's unbelievably accurate. When I was doing some work on a major proposal over the last couple of days, I was forced to go back into some sports research that came out in 2012 that really explored why people volunteer in sports clubs, but why they also participate in sports clubs. What this research did was it looked at also what are the barriers that stops volunteering, what are the barriers that stops participation. And believe it or not, one of the biggest barriers that stops participation or barriers to people becoming participants in clubs is that they can't get the information they need when they want it. Such a simple thing. So think about your club websites, because typically when we want information, we might use social media to ask our friends for referrals, but when we're searching for information, we use Google, right? So our website needs to be up to date when we're looking at our biggest audience of all, which is our future participants, our future members. And so think about your website. Does it give all the information that people want to know about participating in your club? Think about right here, right now, how many questions people have. So I think it's a brilliant idea, so simple. Create a frequently asked questions on your club, a frequently asked page for your website, which you can then put into your newsletters, social media, people can share it, etc. So how do you know what questions to ask? Well, what questions do you want to know? What questions would you want to know? Go back to people that don't participate in your club and just ask them. You know, if you were participating in sailing, or you're thinking of participating in sailing, for example, what would you like to know? What are your questions? What do we need to overcome? And the reality is this is a really, really, really simple strategy. But when we look at the research, it was one of the major reasons for people not continuing the process of exploring their participation options and then going through and contacting that club. So really short, sharp. Deb, welcome to you again. It makes me really pleased that you and Wendy's another one that's a regular on the sports community live streams, which is great. And Wendy, you say it's so true. Very frustrating when you can't find things like days, costs, times, contact numbers, eligibility. If you're talking about kids, we've just gone through that with our young daughter wanting to join a soccer or football club. And there was options of mixed, because she's a 6-year-old, mixed teams, girls teams, and we really battled to get that information easily, and probably we got that information purely because of the persistence of my wife to get it. But most people wouldn't have gone to that effort. I vividly remember at a family function, my brother-in-law was going to register his son for Auskick, found he was actually sitting at the table online. He was going online. He was trying to register. He could not register online. He couldn't work the system. He couldn't get his questions answered online. So what he did was then join them into the local soccer club and at the same time the local lacrosse club, just while he was sitting there at a family function. Should you have been doing that at a family function? I suggest you shouldn't, but that's what he did. Sue says, generally get on it later. Sue, well, welcome to you. Please put the comments, no matter what your comments are, whenever we do get the video, whenever you do watch the video, put your comments in. I'll always look back and have a look at them. So that's really the key to the live streaming, is you don't need to be live to be able to be interactive with me and the audience. So just a simple one for today. We're kind of a down week this week from a point of view of guests, as we kind of shape the way we attack the next 3 months. And so we're really excited with the guests that are coming on in the next 3 months. Very strong focus on participation. And so we've got about 7 or 8 clubs coming on that do different things with participation options, particularly about getting new groups into their clubs, broader participation. Obviously, Esport Fridays coming on Friday, and lots more guests will start again next week. So until tomorrow, ladies, thank you very much for being online with me live today. For those watching the video, it does sound simple, a frequently asked questions page on your website. It does sound simple that your website needs to be up to date with what participation options have we got, what are the criteria, what are the costs, how do I get involved, who do I contact for help. But I promise you, go and have a look at your website, see how far out of date it is, update it again for the information relating to COVID, because that's where we all need. That's our big thinking at the moment. So COVID and our participation options, and take away just one of the barriers that stop people from participating. So until tomorrow, I'm Steve Pallas, and thanks ladies for participating in today's session, and thank you all for being part of our sports community.